So this is me, Jordan Martinez. Thank you. I manage UNHCR Canada's email campaign and our donation pages. So I am very hands-on with the Engaging Networks platform. So likely a very good fit to be speaking to you today about exactly that. Today, I want to take the time to walk you through our highly successful 25-26 winter campaign, which was powered by the Engaging Networks platform. We're going to take a look at our strategy. We're going to take a look at our execution, including all of the channels we activated for this campaign. And we'll also look at the overall performance of the campaign, as well as channel performance, specific channel performance. I think a lot of us here understand the importance of winter in the time of the giving space, pardon me. It's a tricky one, first thing. But the winter campaign generates a large percentage of our annual income. There's a high donor generosity and a high urgency this time of year. And the emotional connection between the season and humanitarian need is present, and that's something that we all try to leverage. For this year's winter campaign, we had a number of objectives. First and foremost, we wanted to get our winter messaging into the market earlier than we had in the past. We know that winter messaging resonates with Canadians. Canadians are well aware of how difficult a harsh winter can be. So there's definitely a window there. So we saw the opportunity to get the messaging into the market earlier, and we saw the opportunity to leave the messaging in the market longer than we had traditionally done, both last year and years before. But this would require a more coordinated multi-channel activation. And we felt that if we could do all of these things, we would drive higher revenue than we did in the past. Okay, so the way we designed this campaign was in 5 phases, starting with early winter. And the early winter allows us to set the tone for the entire campaign. We warmed up our audience with this messaging, with the winter messaging. And right from the get-go, we activated on DRTV, email, and direct mail. Phase 2 was going to be Giving Tuesday, which is easily our biggest campaign of the year. We used the day to create urgency, and we had a donor match, which also helped us create that extra layer of urgency. That leads us into end of year, which also has urgency baked in with the tax deadline. So that was the focus of our messaging paired with winter. And this year, for the first time, we had an Islamic philanthropy stream, which kind of shadowed our end of year campaign timeline and content, but it was written specifically for the IP audience, which is an audience we're trying to develop and grow. And then lastly is the late winter phase. We had great momentum through the first 4 phases of the campaign, and it wasn't always our plan to keep that winter messaging running longer, but it was going so successfully that we decided to keep it in market, and we had good results from doing that. Just a quick look at our timeline for those 5 phases. So, like I mentioned, we got early winter into market much earlier than usual. In past years, we've waited until mid to late November, and this year we launched late October. Giving Tuesdays, obviously early December, but we do start with our Giving Tuesday messaging about a week prior, warming up the audience to the campaign and letting them know about the match opportunity on that day. End of year for us started on December 15th and ran into the 31st, and our IP stream shadowed that with the exact same dates, but only being sent to the specific IP segmentation of our audience. And then late winter after the tax deadline, January running winter content all the way through to the end of March. So just a few weeks ago. Right. For this campaign, our channel mix included DRTV, connected TV, email, direct mail, telemarketing, SMS, and paid digital. So very across the board. And not to spoil the results of future slides, but this is just a quick overview of our campaign performance. Year over year numbers were up across the board. Paid digital, substantial increases. Direct mail, same thing. Telemarketing, not a huge income earner, but our results were above last year's. And same with email. So I think this goes to Leah's point when she was speaking about there still is hope. There's work involved, but there are plenty of opportunities out there. Our one exception being DRTV, slightly less income this year than last year, but I'll get into reasons, some explanations on why that is. Okay, we're gonna go through each of those channels that I mentioned, and we'll look at what we did and the results that we got from them, starting with DRTV. Excuse me. So for DRTV, we ran long form and short form videos using strategic DRTV placements. So we're running ads in cost-efficient, response-focused time slots, aiming to maximize the ROI with the limited budget that we had for this year's DRTV campaign. For the first time this year, we ran on connected TV. So that includes services such as across Apple TV, Amazon Fire, Roku, CBC Gem, and obviously across all of those touch points, all of those channels, we're running a unified creative. So if somebody sees one ad somewhere and sees another one somewhere else, they're going to know that it's from UNHCR. Okay, and on the topic of DRTV, let's just take a quick look at one of our 60-second spots that we ran in the end of year tax season. I don't think that's ours.
Long months. But what happens when the snow falls on refugee camps around the world? Right now, refugees are facing freezing conditions. Today, will you help families stay safe and warm from the cold? Go online now, before the December 31st tax deadline, to give $19 a month to UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency, and help provide winter survival kits containing items like blankets, mattresses, heaters, and warm winter clothes, essentials a family needs to keep themselves safe and warm this winter. We know how cold winter can be and what it takes to stay safe. So please, donate now.
All right, so we did miss the very beginning of that, but I think it gives you a sense of type of tone and messaging that we were going after. And this donation page is still live if anyone is looking to make a donation today. And it is obviously hosted on the Engaging Networks platform. So if anyone's curious as to what one of their pages can look like, this is an example of it. However, it's not using the new tool with the Smart Pages that we are very excited to get our hands on. So for next year's winter campaign, something to look forward to. This is a quick overview of what we ran and when we ran it for 25-26 campaign. So you can see right from the beginning of November through to the end of January, we were running winter themed content. And comparing that to last year, we only ran November and December, and winter content only ran from the end of November through December. So, like I mentioned earlier, one of our goals was to get the winter messaging into the market much earlier and leave it there longer because we believe it resonates with the Canadian market much more than other content and other messaging. We only ran ads through December and January last campaign, and this year we ran for the additional month, which might lead you to think that we had a bigger campaign budget this year, but we did not. But when we look at the data, that's where it gets a little bit more interesting, because in 2025, we spent 25% less on our media spend, but we improved our ROI by 17%. So although we did bring in slightly less income this year, we spent a lot less money doing that. So 24-25, the media spend was $236,000, specifically for DRTV. And in 25-26, it was down to $177,000. And how we did that really goes back to the strategy of using strategic DRTV placements. So running ads on cost-efficient, response-focused time slots, not on like larger broadcasts or more expensive placements. It's really working with our buying team to try to find lower cost placements that will drive higher results. And then the other part was getting onto connected TV, which was the first time we did it this year, and we had very positive results from doing that, and we will continue to do so going forward. Taking it one step further, we can see that our cost per donor dropped by $39, and our cost per regular giving donor dropped by 40%. So really great results on the DRTV and connected TV side when used strategically. Quickly now I'll go into email. So email is our highest frequency channel. We sent an email series in each of the 5 phases that I went over in an earlier slide. We had match giving, we had end of year tax deadline, urgency around those 2 series, which is very important and helpful in generating fundraising. We segmented our messaging to increase relevance and conversions. We had dynamic ask amounts on our donation pages, thanks to Engaging Networks donation pages. And as the person who runs our email program, I have a vested interest, but very happy to share today that our email revenue was up 40% during the winter campaign season versus last year. So that's a $207,000 increase in income, specifically on email. And how did we do that? Here's a breakdown of our 5 different series that we sent during the winter months. And how we did that was a combination of starting the winter content earlier, having the donation match for Giving Tuesday, which is massive when possible. We had a $175 match that we were offering a 1-to-1 match on Giving Tuesday itself. That $175 was provided from a PPH donor. The income is not reflected in this total. It would be recorded separately. Again, creating urgency with Giving Tuesday and end of year, and keeping the winter content running longer. So our winter warm-up email was the only email that we did not perform better with this year. Giving Tuesday was up $108,000 on email. End of year was up $56,000. The Islamic philanthropy stream was the first time we did it, so the money, even though not significant, it was really strategic for us in the sense that it helped warm our audience for a Ramadan campaign that we launched in February into March. And again, that money's not reflected here, but it was very successful for us, and I think this helped warm that audience to that messaging. And late winter also grew by $28,000 year over year. And I just want to show a few creative examples from the emails that we ran. So this is the early winter warm-up email. This was a 2-email series, or our shortest series of the bunch. It focused on winter, and specifically winter in Afghanistan. In terms of design, we really like using call-out boxes. We really like using impact explanation boxes where we can explain, to the donor exactly how their donation will make an impact. And again, all of these email broadcasts were built and deployed through Engaging Networks. We run all of our emails in English and French. Here's a French example from that first winter warm-up. Obviously, we do receive more income from our English audience. However, an interesting stat was that through the winter campaign, we earned $5.50 from every French subscriber, whereas with English, it was only $4.50 per subscriber. So there is a big opportunity in developing your French audience and growing your French subscribers, even though there is more work involved, but it allows you to speak to a larger audience. And like I said, with that data point, we actually are earning more per French subscriber than English subscriber. For Giving Tuesday, here's a creative example of one of our emails. So we did send an email 1 week prior to Giving Tuesday as a warm-up, explaining what we would be doing on the day, specifically with the match. And then on Giving Tuesday itself, we sent 3 emails. This is one of them. And then the Thursday following Giving Tuesday, we sent a follow-up email giving updates to people who contributed or donated to the campaign, along with an impact report on exactly how much was earned and what we would be doing with that money. So this email raised $355,000. Like I said before, that's over $100,000 more than we did last year at with the same Giving Tuesday campaign. And into end of year. So our end of year emails are centered around winter and the tax deadline. For end of year, we did a 4 email series between the 16th of December and the 31st of December, with 2 emails going out on the 31st itself to really just flag that this is the last day you can get your donations in. And like all of us often do, people procrastinate and they're making donations right up till midnight on that 31st of December. So don't hesitate to get the messaging out. And with IP, these emails mirrored the end of year email messaging theme of winter and winter harshness. But these were written specifically for the IP audience, and we do offer Zakat and Sadaqah donation pages so that that audience can donate to the causes that they want to in the ways that they want to. All right, so for direct mail, this year we sent a lot fewer pieces than we have in past years. So we had a very refined segmentation done with our audience. Again, the pieces were narrative driven around winter and the needs around winter. We had 3 mailings this winter campaign season. The messaging reinforced our email and DRTV themes that we looked over. And our performance was strong. So $277,000 more than last year. That's an 84% improvement. Bearing in mind that last year there was the Canada Post strike, so we had 1 fewer mailing, but the income numbers are accurate. How does that break down? So our refined segmentation strengthened winter messaging and improved timing contributed to the increase. We had 2 income-based mailings this year and 1 stewardship mailing, so there was no ask in it. So we did 3 mailings, but only 2 generated income. The first of which generated $475,000 with a 3.02% response rate, and the second was $130,000 with a slightly lower response rate. So both were a lower response rate than last year, but we are seeing a much higher average donation with that lower response rate, largely because of how we did the segmentation, and we were mostly trying to target higher value donors, mid-value donors. And we'll just look at some of the creative that went out this year. The first package had an outer envelope, letter panel, an insert, and a reply coupon. We're looking at the insert here. It's all winter messaging. It's creating urgency to get support for as we lead into the winter months. And we're looking for an emotional response from the people receiving the piece. Same with our emails. We're doing all of our direct mail in English and in French. And this is just a look at our late winter mailing. So our late winter mailing generated a lot less income, but it's only a scaled down pack. It's only the letter itself. There's no insert or the overall printing costs and mailing costs are much lower. So we did generate much less income from this mailing, but it cost us a lot less to do it. And just quickly, as I look at the timer, telemarketing was a part of our efforts. We focused on new to file conversion. Results were strong. Monthly average gift was up, conversion rate was up, and ROI was up. For SMS, we didn't do a lot of that this year, but it is something that we're looking to expand on next year, potentially with the Engaging Networks tool. The SMS that we did do really just hit home the same winter messaging, and we used it at strategic moments around Giving Tuesday and around end of year. So just as a final nudge to get people to donate before those deadlines. Paid digital. I've got two creative examples, winter themed, one for Giving Tuesday and one that actually ran the entire winter campaign. And our digital performance. So Google search definitely driving a huge part of our increase. We had an average gift on Google search of $291 across 1,897 donations, followed by Bing, 512 donations at $285 average gift. So our overall year-over-year improvement with digital was 62% growth, $1.5 million total, versus last year, 933K. And one thing to note, again, not a ton of income from TikTok, but it was the first time that we ran paid ads on TikTok, and it is something that although didn't perform extremely well, it's still part of our mix for next year because we think there is room to grow there. Last slide about paid digital, so just to look at the overall number of donations. So not only was the money up, the total number of donations grew by 1,600. And everything we went over was made possible by the Engaging Networks platform. So from our segmentation strategy, focusing on mid-value, lapsed, and IP audiences only worked because Engaging Networks allowed us to target, personalize, and trigger tailored experience across our email and donation pages. So thank you to them for that. And yes, one final slide, just showing basically a summary of everything that I've just spoken about. We've got last year's total campaign income versus this year's. So 3.2 million over the winter campaign in 25-26. It's a 49%, secondly 49.5%, slightly above 49% year over year increase. And a big part of that was the success around the Giving Tuesday campaign. Thank you. Thanks.
Beautiful. 4 questions here.
Yeah.
Fairly rapid fire. We got 5 minutes.
Yes. Yeah, I went a little bit over, sorry.
No, that's okay. What kind of ROAS are you targeting with your paid media investment? And is it blended top of funnel versus bottom of funnel? And last part of that is, do you separate top of funnel and bottom of funnel budgeting in your media budget? Yeah,
so we do separate it. I don't have the number for you, so sorry. I am focused on the email side of it. So I can probably pull up that number and get back to us before the end of the day, but I don't have it ready for you. Sorry about that.
No problem. Great questions, by the way. For the late winter phase, did you specifically target those who didn't engage in the earlier phase, such as those who didn't donate, open, or click on your emails?
Yeah, so kind of indirectly, because during the winter campaign, we are excluding donors that have donated in the last 30 days for a lot of these campaigns, not every single one, but there are a lot of emails going out this time of year, and we don't want to bombard people that have already reached into their pockets and given us a donation. So by default, we are excluding people that have donated to one of these campaigns in the last 30 days, with a few exceptions. So by doing so, we are indirectly focusing on the people who have not given.
Thank you. Do you find asking for specific amounts, like the $19 that was in the DRTV piece, helpful? And how many people give that amount? And how did you come up with that number?
Yeah, so price points are extremely important, not just on DRTV, but on our, for emails, for telemarketing especially. And one way, maybe a two-part answer. So I had mentioned briefly that we did set up a number of donation pages with dynamic pricing so that when our existing donors are opening up their emails, they are landing on pages with price points that best match their giving capacity. And we find that that really helps maximize what somebody can give versus if I've given $20 in the past and I land on a page and it's asking me for 50, that can really put people off. So having the ability to set up dynamic pricing on your landing pages is very powerful. What was the second part?
Did folks give another amount, basically?
Right. So, and then it's with the $19 for DRTV, it's a fine line between not asking for too much and not asking for too little. And we've done a lot of testing around what price points convert the best. And the DRTV, on the DRTV side, we landed at $19. Our average gift for DRTV is above $19. So I think the $19 is more on the lower side of the gift, but it's a very approachable number that encourages people to click through. And once they get to the page, on average, they are donating more than that. But I don't have the exact number.
It's okay. It's a comfortable floor, it sounds like, the $19. We got 1 minute and a few questions. Let me just try and target one here. Is the paid media attribution last click or direct, or do you have an attribution model that you use that's different?
So we are still, it's not a perfect system. I did have a direct bar chart line in our paid media because we're still perfecting our attribution model for paid media. We also do reattribution for DRTV, which is a little bit easier, where we'll take, we have a software that looks at all donations within a 10-minute window of DRTV and connected TV spots running, and looks at the best way or what we can reattribute to DRTV from that. With paid digital, it's a little bit more challenging because you do have people that maybe see something or hear something on Spotify or see something on Facebook and then directly go to your website. And because paid digital is running constantly, you can't use the same attribution method. So that's kind of an ongoing challenge for us where we're still trying to find the best way to do that. So it's a bit of push and pull between the different teams on who, where that money lands on the books and who kind of gets credit for that. But we don't have a perfect system for that in place. It's always something that we're trying to improve.
Thanks for sharing that, Jordan. There's a number of other questions here. I think the folks in the audience are pretty curious to pick your brain more, so you might get folks walking up to you and introducing themselves. Give it up for Jordan Martinez, please.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
And I think I have enough screens now to manage my day.